Welcome to the debate. The AI landscape is, well, yet again, in immediate high-stakes conflict. For weeks, Gemini 3 Pro had really established itself at the pinnacle with its performance-dominating benchmarks and promising this new era of multimodal functionality. But now, OpenAI has delivered a pretty significant counterpunch. GPT 5.2 is here, claiming the top spot in general knowledge work and forcing every professional user to ask, is the current crown still accurate?
It is the relentless cycle of iteration, isn't it? Every time a major model upgrade lands, we're forced to reevaluate what truly constitutes superior performance in, real-world scenarios. Benchmarks are one thing, but execution and consistency in a user's daily workflow are entirely another.
Exactly. And that brings us to our central question today, a conflict identified directly in the source material. Does the superior textual quality, conciseness, and conversational fluency of ChatGPT 5.2 make it the clear, better daily driver? Or does Gemini 3 Pro's architectural prowess in massive data handling, multimodal analysis, and deep ecosystem integration define the optimal professional assistant? I'm going to argue that for the critical daily tasks of communication, creative ideation, and rapid knowledge retrieval, GPT 5.2 has reasserted its dominance.
And I will argue that while GPT 5.2 certainly holds an advantage in, let's say, the fine art of writing, Gemini 3 Pro's superior architecture and deep corporate integration offer a profound, strategic, and frankly, lasting advantage for serious professional workflows that rely on scale, structured analysis, and complex execution.
To start, let's establish the domain of the daily driver, focusing on real-world use. For most professionals, the bulk of the day is spent on communication, drafting, summarizing, and ideating. This is precisely where GPT 5.2 shines. Our testing showed that 5.2's output for creative writing, emails, and video titles is simply, markedly better than its competitor. This quality stems from a core strength, better tone modulation. When we asked the models to craft crucial YouTube video hooks, GPT 5.2 delivered compelling copy that felt authentic and usable, avoiding the aggressive clickbait optimization that can undercut credibility, a tendency we observed in some of Gemini's initial outputs. Furthermore, the model has achieved a major victory in efficiency. Unlike the very verbose 5.1, this new iteration is exceptionally concise, getting to the point very quickly. That means less editing for the user. For general interaction, GPT 5.2 creates a very natural back and forth, truly feeling like a reliable conversational partner. That psychological difference, it stacks up significantly over dozens of daily interactions.
That conversational fluency is important, I'll give you that, especially for content creators. But the claim that this makes it the optimal professional assistant, I think that fundamentally undervalues the scope of modern data-intensive work. We're not just looking for a better email writer. We're looking for a powerful tool capable of scale and structural analysis, which brings us to Gemini's architectural advantage. Gemini 3 Pro boasts a colossal context window, handling up to 1 million tokens. To put that in perspective for our audience, that's roughly 700,000 words or 10 full novels. If a professional needs to analyze massive regulatory filings, an entire code base, or months of meeting transcripts for insights, that capacity makes Gemini indispensable. GPT 5.2 simply cannot compete at that level of persistent, deep, large-scale data analysis. Beyond capacity, the Google Workspace integration is a fundamental game-changer for the business user. Gemini lives natively in Gmail, Docs, and Drive, meaning it can summarize your inbox or pull insights directly from files in your Drive. This allows users to query their own professional data without complex uploads or, leaving their ecosystem, making it a reliable utility. Lastly, its multimodal superiority is clear. In the image analysis test, Gemini demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of context by correctly identifying the retail store in an image as almost certainly Warby Parker, utilizing external knowledge retrieval alongside visual context, a complex task that GPT 5.2 entirely missed.
I agree. The 1 million token window is impressive. And yeah, the multi-model identification was technically sharp. But let's move into our core debate on usability, starting with that tension between creativity and precision in structured tasks. I mean, if the average user isn't analyzing 10 novels a day, how does Gemini's architectural advantage translate into time savings for a generalist?
Well, it translates directly into reliability for complex problem solving. While GPT 5.2 excels at tone, Gemini proves superior in precision and structure when handling complex planning, which is a key measure of professional reliability. When testing strategic planning for a product launch, both models provided timelines, but Gemini organized the information far better. It used clear phases and detailed tables, making the entire plan transparent and, frankly, easier to understand how everything works together. When you receive complex step-by-step instructions or structured analysis, the clarity and precision of Gemini's output save time downstream because there's less ambiguity, less manual reformatting, and less risk of misinterpretation. That defines effective knowledge transfer.
Okay, I see why you think that, focusing on the framework. But let me give you a different perspective on that same test, focusing on the content. Even if Gemini's organizational framework was cleaner, GPT 5.2 provided better substance for that strategizing task. The suggested video titles and sales copy were, as we discussed, more natural and usable. So while Gemini may provide a better table of contents, GPT 5.2 provides better, more effective content. For a marketing professional, that usable content is the primary time saver. Furthermore, to address your point about reliability, GPT 5.2 maintains a strong logical foundation. In the initial logic test, both models were fast and correct, indicating that GPT 5.2 handles foundational knowledge work with the necessary logical fluency. It just frames those logical answers within a more natural, engaging conversational structure.
Logical parity in basic knowledge tests it's a minimal requirement, right? Not a point of superiority. But logic that fails to translate into executable visual or coding results is fundamentally incomplete in a multimodal world. When we move outside of pure text, the disparity becomes undeniable. I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that the marginal gain in concise copy outweighs Gemini's clear dominance in multimodal and coding utility, which are rapidly becoming standard expectations for professional tools.
Okay, but before you dive into the visual domain, let me challenge the premise. For the average daily user, our central subject here, how often do they need to generate complex code or perform multi-step photo edits, compared to writing, say, 20 emails and summarizing 3 documents? It feels like you are defining the optimal assistant by these very niche power user tasks.
I understand the argument that specialized tasks shouldn't define the general tool, but these specialized tasks demonstrate the underlying architecture's capabilities and its reliability under stress. The tests show Gemini's Nano Banana image generator demonstrated markedly superior performance in both output quality and rendering speed. Gemini finished complex image generation significantly faster and provided better text legibility in scenes like the Neo Tokyo Noodles sign. Critically, GPT 5.2 failed a simple multi-step photo edit after 3 attempts. That is a reliability issue in a core modern professional task. It's a failure in functional execution.
Functionally deficient is a fair assessment of those failures, yes.
And that functional deficiency extends to coding. Gemini produced a clean, functional landing page and task app that looked structured and organized. In contrast, GPT 5.2's landing page was functionally deficient due to persistent formatting errors and was deemed unworkable. We've all been there, right? Staring at broken code generated by an AI, and that time loss is just catastrophic in a deadline environment. For anyone needing to generate or analyze structured code, the choice is clear. Gemini provides the precision required for reliable deployment.
That's a compelling argument regarding visual and coding reliability. And I will acknowledge the demonstrable gap in raw speed and execution fidelity in those areas. But let's consider where time is actually saved for the daily researcher. Raw speed in rendering isn't always the highest value. Time is often saved in rapid knowledge indexing and retrieval. Consider the research test on the uploaded PDF. When asked to find 3 specific vegetarian recipes, GPT 5.2 was much faster at finding and referencing the correct items within the document. The value here isn't the specific recipe, it's the fact that GPT 5.2 rapidly indexed a deeply embedded PDF, proving it's the superior tool for high-speed information retrieval within unstructured documents. Gemini, while it eventually offered the full recipe text, was slower to locate the requested data points. This efficiency in knowledge retrieval, finding the needle in the haystack quickly, is paramount for the generalist who handles internal reports and research papers daily.
I would argue that the efficiency of the research is tied directly to the breadth of data access. And that leads us to our third, and I'd say arguably most important point, ecosystem and workflow integration. Ecosystem matters intensely because it determines the total value proposition for the business user. While you focus on rapid indexing of one PDF, I focus on the ability to query the entire history of the company. Gemini's deep integration allows it to search the entire Google Drive, providing insights about the business by accessing meeting transcripts, historical documents, and confidential files. Access to proprietary data that no one else really does.
You are describing a strategic moat for Google, which is, that's undeniable.
It is more than a moat. It's operational utility. For any business already invested in the Google workspace, this deep integration makes Gemini a more reliable, single-source utility, potentially eliminating the need for separate subscriptions to other models if it handles, say, 90% of your tasks. This is where reliability and the scale advantage merge, making it the better long-term organizational choice.
I come at it from a different way. While deep integration is valuable for organizational data retrieval, GPT has established advantages in personalization and functional automation that reward the advanced user who wants the AI to act on the world. Gemini is currently easier for a beginner to get immediate value from because of the clean structure and integration. But GPT rewards investment over time with better memory and superior personalization features due to its longer development history. This means the model is better at learning your nuanced preferences and context, leading to consistently better response quality.
But Gemini is rapidly closing the gap on memory features. The core difference remains. Gemini offers integrated utility over organizational data. ChatGPT offers external action.
Exactly. The core power user advantage of GPT lies in its agent mode. This allows the model to take proactive actions for the user, browsing websites, running code in the background, filling out forms, or even booking flights. It provides a higher level of functional utility beyond simple Q&A or passive data analysis. If you had to pick one AI as your only assistant for 30 days, agent mode gives GPT the edge in automation, transforming it from an oracle into an active doer. This is the difference between a high-level assistant and a strategic partner.
But we must talk about consistency and reliability in that execution. You are praising agent mode, which is about external action, but we just established that GPT 5.2's internal execution on multi-step tasks, like the image editing, is fragile, needing 3 attempts for a simple task. While you praise the superior conversational tone of GPT, for me, the ability to successfully execute complex instructions without repeated failures is the definition of a trustworthy professional assistant. Gemini's infrastructure seems to lend itself to more predictable, consistent execution, especially when prompts become messier and incomplete.
Consistency in tone and communication quality is just as important for a daily assistant. If the AI sounds sterile or overly sensationalized, it forces the human user to constantly edit, adding friction to the workflow. The reliability of the output's quality for communication is where GPT wins, even if it sometimes struggles with the technical scaffolding of multimodal execution.
Ultimately, this comes down to which type of failure a user can tolerate more: the failure of professional tone or the failure of professional execution.
To summarize my position, for the vast majority of daily professional interactions centered around communication, creative work, and natural conversational flow, where linguistic quality and tone are paramount, GPT 5.2 has proven its quality. It is an excellent assistant for content creation and rapid, accurate knowledge retrieval from documents. And its enhanced conciseness and conversational depth provide a crucial advantage in the fluid, fast-paced world of digital communication.
In Desarai's mind, for the power user or the business user operating at scale, the decision should be Gemini. Its architectural capacity allows it to process and analyze massive amounts of data. Its multimodal handling is faster and more reliable, and its seamless deep integration into the Google Workspace provides a strategic, long-term platform for scaling professional workflows and gaining proprietary organizational insights. It is the superior tool for structural analysis and reliable task execution.
The race is undeniably intensifying. The test materials suggest that while GPT 5.2 has closed the gap and leads in text fluency, it still lags significantly behind Gemini in image generation and coding ability, forcing users to prioritize their needs.
The choice ultimately depends on the specific job. Are you primarily a creator who needs the perfect hook and tone, or are you an analyst who needs to process 10 novels worth of data and integrate those findings reliably into your existing workflow?
Two exceptional tools, each demonstrating clear superiority in their respective domains. It seems the user's primary workflow needs will dictate which crown matters most right now. There is certainly more to explore regarding how these specialized strengths will continue to combine in a user's day-to-day.
Indeed.